All right. So I don't think that person needs any introduction because that person is the most youngest guy in Laravel core team and vice captain of England cricket team. Please welcome one and only the man in the house for the last talk of Laracon India 2024, James Brooks on the stage. Woo!
It's me. Namaste, India. Let me walk this way a bit. I just want to start by saying that I am incredibly grateful to be here for the second time running, but also I haven't been very well like some of the other speakers, and I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to the Laracon team for just looking after us all. Uncle Abbas, he came and sat on my bed and made sure I was okay, gave me some tablets. I'm incredibly grateful because I didn't feel great at all. So if you could all join me in just giving a round of applause to the Vishal, Rushit, Abbas, and the rest of the team, please. Cool. So, as Vishal said, I'm James. I'm a software engineer at Laravel, which I still have to pinch myself saying that. It's a privilege and an honor. At Laravel, I mainly work on Forge, occasionally Envoyer, and previously Nova and the framework and different bits. If you can't tell by my accent, I'm from the United Kingdom, England. When I'm not working on Laravel stuff, I'm building Cache, which is an open source status page system. And you can find my handsome face at jbrooksuk on Twitter, GitHub, LinkedIn, everywhere. So, as I said, this is my second time in India, second time at Laracon India. This is me on stage, classic, hands in the air pose. It was an incredible, incredible experience. So, today we're going to be talking about secrets of the Laravel team, which I feel like is a really good way to end a conference. Let's hope I don't disappoint. I was having a little nap backstage, and Joe had told me that everyone's looking forward to this one, so no pressure. Let's hope I can deliver for you. So Laravel. Laravel is a PHP framework that has been around for 12.9 years. It'll be its 13th birthday in June. And over those 13 years, it has been downloaded roughly 317 million times, which is crazy. And that equates to, on the last 24-hour period, that equates to 4 downloads a second. 4 downloads a second. That's wild, wild numbers. And if you extrapolate this over across the rest of the year, we should be at about 380 million downloads. So if anyone wants to download it an extra 20 million times so we can get to 400 million, that'd be great. So Laravel is more than a framework. It's also, well, it's so much more. We have 47 open source packages. We have 2 paid packages, which are Spark and Nova. We have 3 services, Envoyer, Forge, and Vapor. Oh, I've gone too far. Spoiler alert. Where are we? There we are. OK. 47 packages, 2 paid packages, 3 services. You could be forgiven for thinking that there must be a massive, massive team behind this. The quality that we continue to release, the amount that we're able to release, you could definitely think there's a whole big team. But, and you're not going to believe this, there's only 8 engineers, 8 full-time engineers. 8 full-time engineers. 2 support engineers, Gus and Mohammed. 1 educator, the one and only Christoph Rumpel. And of course, we have 1 Taylor Otwell, so we are in a bit of an unfair advantage there. But we're also much more than just these 11 people on the team, right? We have over 3,000 contributors to the framework alone. And just put your hands up if you have contributed to the framework and it's been merged. And put your hands up if you've contributed to the framework and it wasn't merged. Ah, good work, guys. Okay, and even if you put those contributors to the side, we also rely on you. You are part of the team, whether you know it or not. Without you, each and every single one of you sat here today, we wouldn't have a conference. And if we didn't have a conference, Laravel wouldn't continue to grow at the pace that it grows. We are a worldwide team. This is how we communicate, right? So we are spread over 9 countries, 8 time zones, and these are our beautiful, beautiful faces. What a great looking set of people, hey? Cool. So we're spread over different countries. And you can see that we're very EU heavy, very European heavy. We have Taylor on the east coast of America, Gus, myself, Joe, Nuno, Dries, and Christoph in Europe. Mohammed is in Dubai, Mior in Singapore, and the Aussies, Jess and Tim. So we've covered the entire world. And it's quite difficult to communicate, right? But we try and make it as easy as possible. Now, you guys like to ask us Q&As. This is actually, I didn't realize that we were doing this today. So we've done 4 Q&As now. But you guys love asking us questions. So we've, up until today, most recently done Australia, India last year, and Europe. And if you can't see from our smiling faces and Tim having a ball of a time, we love doing these. They are so much fun. Please don't stop asking us questions. So, each of these Q&As kind of boils down to you wanting to know what our secret is. What is it that makes us different to other companies where we're able to continue to produce as much and at high quality as you expect from Laravel? What is our secret? Well, I messed that up. Sorry, guys. Nope. Where am I at? What's our secret? Okay. So I'm going to break it down into a few different parts. Okay, we're going to start with the company, and then look at how we work and communicate, and we'll go from there. So firstly, let's start as Laravel the company, Laravel Holdings. So these are the tools that we use to run the day-to-day project management and communication. Oh, sorry, guys. So Laravel the company. There's a few things that makes us a bit different to other companies. These things aren't necessarily bad things, right? This is just how Laravel runs. Firstly, we don't have any managers. We don't have meetings, not in the traditional sense. We have decades of combined experience between us, which kind of makes us all senior in the roles that we do. We work semi-asynchronously, so spread across the world, it is very hard to communicate between like Australia and Europe. And we do try our best to kind of overlap a little bit, but I say we work semi-asynchronously. Taylor continues to create the tasks that we work on. So much like the framework, Taylor has the ultimate say in what gets merged, and likewise, he has the ultimate say on what we work on. But he does often ask for our opinion on what we think we should be working on. So as we're working through support tickets or open source packages, he might ask for our feedback on, well, what are customers asking for? What should we be working on? But ultimately, it's Taylor that decides the quality that we're going to be working on. And most importantly, I would say, we're trusted. As I say, we have decades of experience, and he asks for our input. He's not micromanaging us. He gives us a task, and it's really up to us how we work through it. Much like Jess and Tim with Pulse, they weren't dictated, you need to build it this way. Just the goal is we need to be able to monitor a product like Forge. How we get there, that's up to you. And then we leverage the community. There are so many people in the community that I could shout out, but Kaneko makes all of our logos. Aaron Francis, Tobias Petri, Spartsy, Marcel Posiat. There's so many people that we rely on to continue building the great products that we do, and all the conferences that are organized around it as well. We rely on yourselves to help us as well. Okay, this is probably a good time for a drink, sorry. Justice for James. We're on India time now, I'll take my time. Okay, so the Laravel stack. The Laravel stack is what I'm calling the products that we use to communicate with each other and to manage our products. So we start with GitHub. Everyone, I'd be surprised if people here don't know what GitHub is. But of course, this is what we use for our repositories, issues, pull requests, discussions on the framework, like feature ideas, that kind of thing. And our repositories, both open source and private. So that means that Forge and Nova, those kind of products, we all use GitHub.com. We're not having to jump around between different services to find code. It all lives in one place. Next, we use Basecamp. Basecamp is a project management tool that has so many features. It's kind of wild. But namely, we use a few different things from it. We use, I can't read, the calendar. So as a company, we're spread across the world. We work remotely. So I don't know who's in the office and who isn't, but we put it into the calendar. We can see who's around. Very useful. We use daily check-ins. So as you can see, what did you do today? And really, that happens at about 4 p.m. every day. We're asked, what did you achieve today? And really, all we do is just bullet list what we've done, any problems that we've had, and really any kind of bits that Taylor might want to be aware of. Documents and files, so we can upload SQL scripts, or maybe we'd write some documentation, internal documentation for maybe our customer success story, or pitches, that kind of thing. Message board. So each month, Taylor will post a work cycle where, as I mentioned earlier, he'll create the tasks and kind of loosely assign it to the people he thinks would either enjoy working on it or would perhaps have the most experience. But truthfully, if there is a task that is assigned to someone and you think you can help with that, or you would like to work on it, you can do that too. It's not a dictatorship by any means. And then we have the happening now, which is really just a Kanban board of to-do list type thing, where we're able to put things into Taylor's inbox. So if there's a pull request for a private repository, or we need him to maybe give us access to something, we can put it into Taylor's inbox and he can go through that. So even though it's not asynchronous, we can't just message him and get a reply, probably because he's asleep when I'm doing these things, it's still there for him to come into in the morning. Slack. So we use Slack, as Joe said yesterday, the best communication platform. We use Slack, of course, for our company chat. We have a channel per product, which I think is a good kind of tip, really, to take away. A lot of communication gets siloed into like one channel, and then if you've got lots of people on the team or lots of products or services, all of that communication gets muddled, and it's very hard to kind of find what you are looking for. So, for instance, when I joined Laravel 5 years ago, there was only 4 of us on the team, and we were using Telegram, which is very difficult to keep track of when you've got 30-something packages and 3 services. It's a lot. So we moved to Slack. We created a channel per product, and all of that information goes into there. And we also created an emergency channel where most of us have notifications enabled pretty much just for this channel. So if there is ever anything that goes wrong, whether that's with the framework or with a service or something kind of within our ecosystem, we can put it into the emergency channel. Everybody on the team is able to see that and provide input and maybe some support to whoever it is that kind of needs to figure that out. We also have our external connections in our Slack as well. So things like the Stripe team, Paddle, AWS, those kind of people, they come into our Slack, and all that communication is centralized into our Slack channel. And of course, we observe universal morning time. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, whenever you come on, whatever time that might be, you say morning. And Christoph is a relatively new employee and doesn't get the thing yet. He just ruins the lovely chain of mornings. Okay, next we use Help Scout. Help Scout is a customer support platform. This is where Gus, for instance, will spend most of his time. We have a mailbox per product, much like we have a channel, and we use so many saved replies, like probably hundreds. So we often get asked the same questions, and while we do our best in all of our products to kind of reduce the load that you have and the reason for the same questions being asked, often it just is a thing. Especially with Forge, we rely on external services like Let's Encrypt, and that can go wrong for a variety of reasons, and we don't want to spend time writing the same message every time, so we'll use these save replies. And Gus said we get 50 messages a day for Forge alone. So you can imagine that would take a lot of time to reply every single one to every single one of those with these big replies. So we try and utilize save replies as much as possible. We also use automatic workflows. So when you submit a ticket, we have integrations with our products. So if you're on Forge, it will say that you're on the business plan, or Envoy, you're on the premium plan. And with that information, we can tag tickets. So we will add a premium or a priority label to any tickets that come from a premium or business customer. If a ticket has been waiting for too long, we kind of bump it back up to the top. We're able to do a lot of things with these workflows. We also have custom integrations. So when you submit a Forge ticket, we can see your name and email, the plan that you're on, and then it also provides us with some quick links as well. So if you have a billing issue, we can jump straight into Stripe. If you have a server issue, we can jump straight into your Forge profile and then kind of go from there. Again, when you're getting so many tickets, you kind of need to make these like quick shortcuts to doing the things that you do the most. And like previously, it was really just me that did Forge support, so when you're writing the code and handling support, you need to be able to get there as quick as possible. And we use beacon messages quite a lot as well. So Frank mentioned this yesterday, the little widget that you get in the corner of the screen and you submit a message through there. We can do the same thing. We can send you a message, or all customers, a message through the same beacon. And this is quite helpful when we have things like two-factor authentication not being enabled. We can just send you a message through there. And that's a really helpful way of using the tools that we're already using to provide more information. Tuple. So Tuple is a remote pairing platform. We use this very often. My wife always comes into my office when I'm pairing with Joe, and she is convinced that I don't do any work. I just speak to Joe all the time, which isn't true. We do work, so with Tuple, it's almost like you're sat next to each other, but with your own mouse, and you can take control. You can draw on the screen. It's incredibly useful, especially as we're spread across the world. So I've paired with Jess and Tim previously, and it is literally like they're sat next to me. It is very cool. We also use Tuple for pairing with customers. So occasionally there might be an issue that is particularly difficult to debug, or maybe it's very bespoke to their use case. We can set up a Tuple call with them, and they can walk us through the same thing. So again, we're just using the same tools that we're already using. So something you can do in Tuple as well is create these like rooms that anyone can join. You don't need to be invited. And Jess and Tim, as soon as they joined the company, they created the Cool Kids Clubhouse, which I have only ever joined once, and it was the best day of my life. I was a cool kid for that hour while they were frantically working on Pulse. Oh. Joe, man, I'm on stage. We'll decline that. There we go. Unbelievable, Joe. Okay. So that's it. We use 5 tools. 5 tools. And we're still able to produce the same quality of content, the same quantity of products as well. And really what we've done here is optimize the 1%. Each of these tools provide us with something that another tool that we have in our arsenal doesn't provide us. I've been reading a book recently called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and this is where this comes from, optimize the 1%. If you take every process that you do and you optimize just 1% of each of those processes, you will have a much larger gain over the whole result. So I think although we haven't done this specifically with our tools, we've kind of managed to end up in the same position anyway. We keep it lean, 5 tools. We used to use Notion, we used to use Telegram and Trello, and ultimately all of these tools and services we could get through Basecamp. Basecamp just did it all for us. Secrets of a Laravel application. So I never actually got sign off from Taylor about this, so we'll just keep it between all of us, okay? So we have 8 engineers, and as I said, we work around the world, so we need to set some conventions. We want everyone to be on the same page, and we want everyone to be able to jump into a product. So what we do, we keep the Laravel directory structure, which most of our products are still on Laravel 10 at the moment. There's a large upgrade process for us there, but there's not much of a difference for us. We use Laravel Paint for formatting, so we just use the default Laravel coding standard that you get just by running Paint. And we automate so much stuff through GitHub CI. So Paint is automated, our tests, we have integration tests that run to make sure that Forge can actually provision servers. And then we dog food our own products as well. So Forge actually deploys Forge. Forge deploys Envoyer. Vapor deploys Vapor. We use Pulse in Forge. All of the tools that we have, we use ourselves, and that gives us a really good understanding of how those tools are working, or better, the best situation is how they're not working, and how we can optimize those. And I can kind of see you all sat there now, like, is that it? Is that really the all that Laravel is? And it's kind of underwhelming, right? There's not really a lot that we do that anyone can, that nobody else can do themselves. We just use a few tools, we trust each other, and we're there to support each other with the combined experience. Something else that we do, and I think this might separate us a little bit, we're in a very fortunate position. We do understand that. But something we do is stop when things aren't working out. So for instance, this is the Laravel panel that I mentioned earlier. It will discover your composer.json file and list the different packages that you have installed. So if you've got Laravel Framework installed, it will show you the scheduler, and you can enable maintenance mode. If you have Horizon, Octane, Pulse, or even Inertia, Laravel will also detect that and give you options to enable the daemons, and now Reverb as well. So this feature didn't always look like this. It used to look like this, and it's just completely different. This only shows really a small part of the picture here, but every single feature, like the scheduler, maintenance mode, Horizon, those kind of things, were all listed as individual panels, and it was just a form and a form and a form and a form, and it was just very overwhelming. And also, you can see on the sidebar here, it was under a separate page, integrations. Well, that didn't sit right with us, because Laravel Forge is Laravel Forge. Laravel integration should be first and foremost at the center of any application. So I worked on this for quite a while, but we just didn't like it. It didn't seem right, and we didn't really have the capacity at the time to really give it much more thought. We just knew that we didn't want to ship something that we weren't happy about. So we put it to rest for a year, a whole year, and truthfully, we forgot about it as well. It didn't seem that important at the time. But when we came back to it, we looked at it with fresh eyes, and we realized, hang on, it should be at the front of a Laravel site. it should just be a lot easier. So you just toggle the toggles, and that will just immediately create any daemons or enable maintenance mode, those kind of things. And it's so much better, and it's one of the most loved features of Forge to date. So, who wants to see some Forge code? Well, that was underwhelming. Who wants to see some Forge code? Yeah, okay. You're going to be disappointed. In Forge, so for anyone that doesn't know what Laravel Forge is, it's a server provisioning and project deployment platform. It does a lot more, but it boils down to that. And each of these features work by Forge connecting to your server over SSH, running a script on the server, and then reading the kind of output of that, and then setting some state. So if you want to install your repository, Forge will perform the git clone on your server, and then if that's all been successful, Forge will mark it as such. So we call this action a provisioner. And there were some problems with the original implementation of this. Now, it scaled incredibly well. It's only in the last 6 months that we've actually refactored any of this because it just worked for us. But one of the problems we found when working on the Laravel panel was that the provisioner would make multiple connections to a server. So if we needed to install a repository and restart Nginx, that would be 2 SSH connections, which is just wasteful, really, especially when we are managing 600,000 sites, I think. Also, we have duplicated concerns. So each provisioner would kind of be its own thing. It would install the repository, restart the PHP process, and also Nginx. And what this meant is that they weren't atomic, they weren't reusable. So as we were trying to build things like the Laravel panel, we ended up running into this same problem where we were like, well, we can't use the script that already exists because we don't want it to restart Supervisor or Nginx at this particular time. So Tim took it upon himself to refactor the provisioners, Tim McDonald, very smart guy. So now what we do is we have this provision class, which will dispatch. So it's all just using Laravel's jobs in the back end. It's just kind of like a wrapper around all of that. And then we can pass the instance of the server that we want to connect to, and then an array of the jobs that we want to run within that connection. So in this case, we're going to connect to a server. We're going to enable maintenance mode, where we pass through the site that we want to enable it on, and then we restart Nginx. So these two things are now independent of each other. Enabling maintenance mode won't just restart Nginx. This isn't like a true example, by the way, because enabling maintenance mode wouldn't need to restart Nginx. But just for the example here. So yeah, pass the server and then the array of the provisioners. So each provisioner that is now written has to implement this contract. So we have an event which returns an array, a script, a unique ID, after, and failed hooks. So let's take a look at the enable maintenance mode example. We have an event method that returns an array, and all this is doing is really populating the server events panel that you see. So it's like the audit log of what's happened and who did it. Then for the script, we're returning just a view file. So we're able to return a view or just static text, a string. And what you'll see here as well is that we have this scripts, : scripts is a namespace. So something I found very interesting, and I was talking to JMac about this yesterday. In Laravel, as a bonus tip, you can add extensions and namespaces to Blade. So in this case, we're adding an extension, like a file type extension of sh for shell script. And then we're just telling it to be compiled by or rendered by the Blade renderer or compiler. And then we're adding a namespace of scripts. And we're just telling it, anytime you see scripts : look for the file within this base path of scripts. So what we've done is moved all of these scripts that are used by provisioners into the root of our Laravel directory. And now it's much easier to find that rather than going into resources, views, scripts. And because we have hundreds of scripts, we kind of felt that that is a first-party part of Forge. Okay, then we have two hooks. We have after. So if the script that runs on the server is successful and it returns a non-zero exit code, a zero exit code, then we will set the state. So in this case, we're updating maintenance mode to be true. We have enabled maintenance mode. And then we're resetting the maintenance mode status to null. So when you click the button, we'll immediately update the state to say that maintenance mode is being enabled. But when this is finished, we'll set that back. So now you get immediate feedback. And because we use Reverb and WebSockets, all of that just happens immediately to the user as well. And then the second hook that we have on a provisioner is the failed one. So as the name suggests, this runs when a script fails. So it returns a non-zero exit code in bash. And all we're doing is creating an alert on the server. So if you use Forge, you've probably seen these at some point. If something wasn't able to complete successfully, you'll have a server alert, and then it will explain what failed, in this case, enabling maintenance mode. And it should show you the output as to what's happened. And then we're able to do some additional things with that as well. So Forge will have solutions to common issues and kind of explain how you can fix that. And then finally, we're setting the state back. So we've said maintenance mode is actually not enabled, and then we reset the status again. And then because the provisioner system really just wraps Laravel's existing jobs and queues, we're able to use things like the without overlapping trait. So we have a unique ID. So if you're like frantically pressing the enable maintenance mode button, we're going to fire a few jobs. They're all going to get processed by the queue, so we'll say, well, hang on, they can't all be doing the same thing. We just want to do this thing once. Okay. So with this provisioner, we will now take all of the scripts within the array that we pass through, pull out the script, run that in one go, and then break the output apart so you know that script 1 is related to this, script 2 is related to that. And now we're able to run all of these provisioners on one connection, which is better for us and for you as customers. It's fully testable now. There was quite a lot of, well, we didn't have unit tests for a lot of them because they relied on so much state to be set at different points. And they're now atomic, so each provisioner is able to do a much smaller job, much more granular and focused thing. So just enable maintenance mode by running artisan down, then just restart Nginx. And we do this across the board now as well. Okay. So our morning routine. So I asked the Laravel team to tell me what their morning routine looks like. We don't work with each other person to person, face to face, so I don't know what everyone gets up to in the morning. But I did ask, and maybe 4 people replied, which is a 50% success rate. So this is what I took away with it. Of course, we all work from home, and they had some advice for us. So close the door. I'm at work. It's very hard to be at home in your home office, whether that's a kitchen table or an office or a bedroom, and know that work is work. You're still at home, and it's very easy to get carried away with now you leave the office and then, well, I'm still at work because I'm in the same place that I've spent all day. So one of the suggestions that the team had was just close the door. Separate yourself from your home life a little bit. And when you leave, you've left the door that has been shut. Our routine is often dictated by kids as well. Many of us have kids, and we have the flexibility to work around those kids and their illnesses and their school runs and that kind of thing. A clean desk and workspace. Every morning, Tim will clean his desk. And his thing is a clean desk is a clean mind. I think that's brilliant. Mine is not so clean, but I should work on that. And then a morning bowl of oats and coffee. You need good nutrition to sit down all day and write code. Music. Music is super important. When you're sat at home on your own, it can be very isolating. And so AirPods are in, and the Spotify playlist is on. And also a tip that I think we've all kind of discovered over time, but like, for instance, Tim, his routine involves checking GitHub tickets and support tickets in his time zone. And one of the things he found is that he can't have music playing with words being sang or spoken because it's conflicting with what he's reading, and he'll type what he hears and vice versa. So he'll go lyricless beats in the morning and then maybe progress to something a bit more, a bit different in the future. And pets. Everyone has to love pets. And as Tim's got a lot of recognition in this talk. So for Laracon AU, he just tweeted them saying, well, what's the point if there isn't any puppers? And so I now have to put puppies into this talk. We have lots of dogs and cats. Look at them, they're beautiful. They spend a lot of time with us as well. It's nice to have cuddles with my dog. My dog's the Cocker Spaniel here. She's super cute. And the future, that leads us ultimately to Vishal's question earlier. What are we up to and why are we hiring? I can't say, otherwise I will actually get fired. But what I can tell you, because Taylor's already said it, is that we've had several new additions to the team. Tom Crary, Andre Valentin, Chris Vidal, Mohammed Saeed, and Alyssa Mazina. This is just the start of our hiring process as well. We have some big plans. Real business is about to get done, which means that we'll be hiring soon. So keep an eye out on that. It would be amazing to see the Indian community get involved in that as well. And that's me. I'm going to butcher it, but Davinia? Davinia.
Thank you, James. I have a couple of questions. Two people asked, what is your age? You are the youngest core member.
What is what, sorry?
They say, what is your age? You are the youngest Laravel core team member.
Should we play a game?
Yep.
Yeah. How old? Yes.
How much? 18?
No, I'm not 18, no. Higher.
18?
No, I'm not 18, no. Man, I would look rough if I was 18. 32. Well, 33 this year.
Sorry?
I'm 32.
Okay, perfect. Second question, how is it working with Taylor? We know he is cool and down to earth. But how is it when it comes to working in an official capacity?
Oh, just the same.
Yeah.
Just the same. We've all kind of been indoctrined into the Laravel way already. So as we joined, we'd already, as Jessa said, we'd already contributed to Laravel in one way or another. So the way that Taylor works is the way that the framework works and the products are run, and we've all been users of those things ourselves and contributed. So really, it's not any different to what you see. It's just that we have a direct line to Taylor.
Yeah, perfect. And last question, how often do you guys meet in a year in person?
We've actually never all 11 of us, and then the rest now, met in person. I think the biggest one was US last year.
Yeah.
Gus is nodding. That was awesome. We do hope to do more team building events in the future. But yeah, we haven't actually all been together yet.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, James. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.